Shalom uvracha to all the wonderful members of the Ḥabura. We are about to approach Chag SUKKOT, and I want to share with you a brief idea regarding the Sukkah. There's an interesting question. When we say Sukkah, what exactly are we referring to? Are we referring to the schach? Again, that's the roof of the Sukkah. Or are we referring to the entire Sukkah, as that's what's called Sukkah? Now, why is that even a question? Because on the one hand, it seems that nearly all the halachot of the Sukkah refer to the schach. So it seems that there's a great focus in the Sukkah, specifically on the schach, what it's to be made of, and numerous other halachot that all seem to pertain to the schach. However, that's not entirely true, and there are some halachot which seems to rather to address the entire Sukkah, the entire structure of the Sukkah. So I think this question is actually a machloket between the Amoraim in the beginning of Masechet Sukkah. There's also some hints to this question in the Rishonim as well, but I'll just share with you one brief sugya where it seems there's a machloket on this question. The Mishnah, the beginning of Masechet Sukkah, states that a Sukkah shehi gvoha lemala me-20 ama psula, if a Sukkah is higher than 20 ama, which is approximately 10 meters, then it is pasul, it's not a kosher sukkah. And there are several explanations in the Gemara as to why that is so. So I'll just speak about two opinions, Rabba, the opinion of Rabba, and the opinion of Rava. According to Rabba, the reason why, if it's above 20 amma, the sukkah is psula, is because up to a height of 20 amma, that the schach is up to a height of 20 amma, Adam yodea shu dar besukkah. Up to 20 amma, a person knows that he's dwelling in a sukkah. Above 20 amma, he does not know that he's dwelling in a sukkah, mishum de lo shalta ba'eina, because the eye does not notice something so high. In other words, according to Rabbah, a person, when he's sitting on the sukkah, he needs to be aware of the schach. And again, Rabbah here is calling the schach sukkah. In other words, he seems to define the sukkah as the schach, and therefore, if a person does not have awareness of the schach when he's sitting in the sukkah because it's so high up, then he's not fulfilling the mitzvah of sukkah. However, Rava in the Gemara says, Rava amar mehacha b'sukkot tishvu shivat yamim, amra Torah kol shivat hayamim tzeh midirat keva veshev bedirat aray. Ad 20 ama adam oseh dirato dirat aray, lemala me-20 ama ein adam oseh dirato dirat aray ela dirat keva. In other words, according to Rava, the mitzvah of sukkah is to go out of your permanent residence, dirat keva, and go into a temporary residence. However, a structure which is higher than 20 amma cannot be a temporary residence. Nobody would make a temporary dwelling place such a vast and high up roof. So therefore, by definition, once the sukkah is higher than 20 amma, it is no longer considered a dirat aray, and the person is not considered to be fulfilling the mitzvah of sukkah. So we see that the Rava is putting the focus not specifically on the schach, but rather on the dira, the entire structure of the sukkah as one is dwelling in. And we don't have time now to go in it, but I think if we look at a number of other sugyot as well, we would see that Rava is consistent in this approach, that he is not just merely focusing on the schach, but rather in the halachot of sukkah is focusing on the entire structure of the sukkah, that the entire structure takes part in the mitzvah of the sukkah, not just the schach, even though the schach is clearly a central part of the structure of the sukkah, but rather the halachot and the sukkah is the entire structure of the sukkah. What is the significance of this? So I think perhaps we could suggest the following idea. Granted, what really, the critical part of the sukkah is really the schach. That's what makes it unique. That we don't have a proper roof under our heads, that we have just some branches, some things that, that we take from the ground. It doesn't really protect us from rain or anything else. And in essence, what we're doing by this is showing our faith in God, just like Bnei Israel did when they left Egypt, and they also dwelled in the Sukkot, and were relying on the protection of Hashem all throughout. And we are reenacting that. We're going out of our formidable homes into a more temporary dwelling place where we can see again how we trust in the protection of Hashem and remember the days that we were in the desert. So that's obviously the message, or one of the messages of living in a sukkah. And clearly the schach is what creates that. But Rava is saying that can't just be left just to the schach, rather that has to affect the entire structure of the sukkah, and the entire sukkah has to take part in that message and in that mitzvah. Now, ultimately, we don't stay in the Sukkot, we move back into our homes. And as Rambam writes in Moreh Nevuchim, we even have the mitzvah of Shmini Atzeret, which is just for that purpose, to bring the Chag Sukkot and all its joyness and bring it back into our homes. So I think perhaps we can take the following message. In each of our homes, we need to have a schach. We need to have the high point of our homes, the goals, the aspirations, the lofty aspirations that we all put for our families and our homes. But that doesn't just remain up there in the roof. Rather, that needs to affect the entire home, how the entire home functions, and everything that we do in our home, you know, from the most lofty aspects to the most mundane, they all partake in this building, this entire home, which is predicated on the belief in Hashem and in the trust in Hashem's protection. And that's part of the simcha that we have in Chag Sukkot, and that's part of the simcha that in the messages that we want to take from Sukkot into our homes for our entire years. So I wish everybody a very joyous Chag Sukkot, together with all your families, that everybody should be healthy and well. And the main thing is, v'samachta b'chagecha v'hayita ach samach, that we may take this opportunity to bring great joy into our lives. Chag Sameach to everyone.